Chirp About It.
Woo!
I want to know what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Chirp About It. Every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Gonna chirp about it.
Woo-hoo. Chirp About It is. Good evening, New York City. Greetings to the world. You're listening to Chirp About It Live. I am your host, Pat Sainville. We're broadcasting on the City World Radio Network in the great city of Manhattan. Spectacular city, I have to say. What a great intro, huh? That great intro was by Mr. Ian Bamberger, my younger little brother. Yeah, Ian, how are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well.
Right.
You know, always stuff to talk about.
Of course.
Every week.
We're going to chirp about a lot today. Folks, we have a spectacular show for you, as I just mentioned. We have special guests in the house, real New Yorker, true New Yorker. He goes by the name of Greg Lefebvre.
Very good.
Yeah, Greg Lefebvre. He's a sculptor, photographer, studio owner. You're just a major guy in the art world, New York City art world. I should say upon the planet.
When I taught school in the late 60s here in New York, and my kids couldn't pronounce my name, so they called me Mr. Lething.
Well, we might hear a thing or two from you in just a little bit. So sit tight for that. So, folks, also, if you'd like to call in with your New York moments, thoughts, or opinions, or even if you have any questions for the panel, please call 646-690-2976. 646-690-2976. Also, we'd like to thank Jade, our engineer, who keeps things together as usual. We love you, Jade. Thank you very much. Okay, well, I'd like to start off by saying Happy Hanukkah to Ian, your family, and all of the Jewish people or communities out here in New York and across the world. Also, happy holidays, because I celebrate the holidays. I'm a big person when it comes to the holiday season, so I'm always in a happy and cheerful mood. So I have to say so. So that's that. Sad note: I'd like to show or pay my respects to George Bush Sr., who passed away last week, our 41st president. So my condolences and my prayers and thoughts go out to the Bush family. Really sad times. I mean, he lost Barbara, I don't know, just a little over 7 months ago, something like that. Yeah. Well, they always say, they've been together, number one, a long, long, long time. I think over 73 years.
What a
That's a long
family.
time to be married to someone, huh?
It's definitely a long time. It's a great relationship. I guess it represents the United States.
It does, yeah.
Dedication.
Dedication and the
Longevity.
family. I mean, what a dynasty, huh? Talk about that. Father and son.
He could be president, and his son could be president of the United States.
Of the United States. That just tells you how the magic of this country, America.
America.
Huh? Things like that can happen here.
Yeah.
Other things can happen, so, just like our current president, but we won't get into that. So, again, my prayers and thoughts go out to the Bush family.
Given the current situation, it makes George Bush look a whole lot better.
A whole lot better. Oh, no question.
Oh, my God. Like a real leader, like a real president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Speaking of statues, the famed fearless girl that was placed downtown by at Bowling Green, facing the charging bull. Maybe you would know this story better than I do. Greg, has been removed last week and installed, in fact, at the New York Stock Exchange. Did you hear about that?
No, I know. I knew it was in contention. I wasn't sure what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, apparently she's been moved to the New York Stock Exchange, and the story goes is that the charging bull will be removed as well in the near future. Can you believe that? Yeah, that's crazy.
Why? What is the idea behind this?
The excuse is that tourists. There's so many people in that square where it's dangerous. The traffic and people are like spilling out onto the. Onto the streets. So that's the excuse. Yeah. So it's a safety issue, a safety hazard.
So speaking of stock exchange, how many hundreds of points did it drop today? Or did the Dow drop
I didn't
today?
follow. How many?
I think close to 700.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think? But yesterday it shot up.
It shot up, but it just went down 700.
Interesting.
Is this because of Trump's trade wars or tariff wars with China?
Well, that's kind of crazy because
I'm not a stock man, but I did see it on the front page of several
It's very
news
interesting.
agencies.
Because yesterday, after the this deal was struck between us and China, and I think there was another country I don't recall. The market shot up.
It just
today,
went way back down.
Maybe
buyer's remorse.
Also, a lot of the columnists said nothing was different. It was not any of a deal. It was just Trump, blowing steam.
Talking.
So,
Just talking.
Just talking.
Talk the talk, but not walk the walk. Yeah. So.
Talk the talk, not walk the walk. I like that.
I agree.
All right. So you were telling us about this a story about the statue. Do you know it? Do you know the artist, by the way?
Yeah, I know the artist.
Christina Vespa?
Oh no, I know the Italian guy who did the bull.
Arturo.
Wow. Yeah.
Arturo di Modica. Yeah.
How does someone get
paid
to do that?
There was no commission. He did it, and he plunked it. I don't think he plunked it there first. He just parked it someplace.
What?
And he got
Really?
it. And I forget where he put it first, but then he ended up putting it there, and then people liked it, and it became an icon, and now it's there.
Yeah,
so.
Now it's there. I mean, it's been there since the 80s.
Right. What I find funny is when bronze is interesting because it's a very lively metal, and it definitely it's affected by the way people touch it, and so the balls of the bull are like bright and shiny, and people all duck underneath it as their picture.
Oh yeah,
taken.
I have several pictures of people.
If you go up to the Time Warner building, there's a big sculpture. It's Botero has a guy, and his penis is shiny as can be.
Yes.
And in the Boston Public Library, which is a little more traditional town than New York, there's a circular staircase where you can't halfway up you can't be seen from above or below, and there's a niche, and there's a woman in the niche, and both her breasts and her are shiny as can be. So.
Well, this is at the also at the Time Warner building. There were two statues.
Yeah, there are two. Yeah.
I gotta say, what does this say about human nature?
I think it means we're tactile people.
We are. We're also aggressive people. Yeah. Like we go after things that represent aggression, or maybe just power.
Yeah.
You grab the bull by the balls. I mean, come on,
the famous balls of the bull.
But that's a real thing, and people strive for that. When you try to succeed and you have goals you set for yourself and everything, and I think that's why that piece was so successful.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So he just picked up the spot and just dropped the bull, placed the bull right then and there.
I think it got moved once, but again, it's a long time ago, so I'm not sure. So.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. So. All right. Well, there you go. All right. Well, that's that. We'll keep everyone informed as to where this bull will be moved to. Rumor has it that it may be facing this young fearless girl opposite of the New York Stock Exchange. So that should be or would be interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. That would be interesting. This young girl is it's a statement. It's a symbol of women empowerment, which we love to do on the show.
Here.
Oh yeah. Interesting story I read over the weekend. I love these headlines, but I won't go crazy into the headlines today. Man drops engagement ring down a drain at Time Warner.
Right. I think they found
right
it
after proposing to his girlfriend, and the NYPD found it.
Yep.
And how'd they find these people?
Social media.
Social media.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
I think
that's a wow, huh? That's a wow moment for me.
Have you seen these guys who have the telescoping? It's a telescoping rod, and they have gum on the bottom of it, and they can pick up coins and things from well below the subway grate.
Yeah.
So it's an occupation,
It's an occupation. Yeah, well, shout out to
New York. Every little niche has its occupation.
Yeah. Well, shout out to NYPD. We love them. They keep us safe, or they try to at least. Yeah. And they're always in harm's way. So, let's not forget that. I mean, and, the fire department as well, our firemen.
Yes.
All right. So, shout out to all of these gentlemen and women. All right. It's the holidays again. I'm just going to cover one. It's not even a topic, but it's just a mention because I've been reading about this and I've been hearing about this on radio. Just beware, it is the holidays of pickpocketers and pickpocketers, I should say, and thieves. So they're all over the place, and they are on the move, and they're making a statement. They're really, it's happening. They're at fine restaurants, they're at shopping malls, they're all over the place. So just again, folks, just if you're shopping, I know everyone's in the spirit, but just look out for yourselves. And I have to mention this because I just have to. This is New York City. All right, with that, Ian, unless you have some local topic, anything else you want to mention, you'd like to mention?
A sports...
let's do our round of chirps.
Yeah, a sport thing, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
We had a great heavyweight title bout over the weekend. WBC against the Lineal Championship. I know you're French, but, there was a man from Great Britain named Tyson Fury who came back from a few years of just degenerate debauchery, and it was terrible. He lost 100 pounds, and he fought the considered the best heavyweight in the United States right now. Went the distance, and it was a draw. So if anyone saw that heavyweight fight, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, if you're tuning in, check it out. Check out the highlights. I hope there's a rematch. I'm not going to give my opinion on the decision of the fight, but it was an outstanding heavyweight bout. And, people into combat sports, it was a beautiful thing to watch something like that.
All right, I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was our local topics, folks. Hope you enjoyed. And I think it's about that time to do what we do best. What do you say, Ian? Yep, it's time to liven up the show. All right, folks, these comments you're about to hear are real comments from real New Yorkers. Your mothers, your brothers, your sex partners, your train conductors, your whomever. Jade, give us some of that tune. All right, folks. Also, if you'd like to call in with your chirps, your New York moments or opinions, call 646-690-2976. With that, Ian Bamberger, take it away.
All right, the first chirp of the night is from Rodney, and Rodney's from Queens. He has to say this. Just saw a baby crib strapped into the trunk of a stretch limo. Hashtag only in New York City. Can you do? Is that legal?
I don't even know, but
wait, you can strap a baby crib to the trunk of a stretch? No,
I guess it's a vehicle.
Yo, Rodney, did you get the license
plate
of the limo company?
That's some observation, huh? Only in New York City. That's crazy.
Damn.
All right, well, it is what it is. Thanks for that chirp, Rodney. Keep them coming. Keep them coming at chirpaboutit.com. With that, Mr. Guest, Greg, what do you have to chirp about this evening?
Okay. If you've ever been to Grand Central Station, you know that it's one of the city's crowning jewels. I'm having a little trouble reading this writing here. If you're anything like us, you marvel at its beauty every time you see it. This year, Grand Central Station is celebrating its 40th year. It must be 40th year since it was restored, because it couldn't be 40th year since it was built. For the restoration, yeah. Actually, I have a restoration story about Grand Central.
Oh, we're going to hear all about it in just a little bit.
Okay, cool.
All right, who's the chirper, by the way?
Oh, I'm sorry. The chirper is Ruth Owens.
Ruth Owens.
No, Ruth Owens. No, I think it's Ruth from Queens.
All right, Ruth from Queens. Well, thank you for that chirp, Ruth. We love them. Oh, I love it. All right, Ian, do you have a chirp?
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's do it.
I love that name, Ruth.
Ruth.
By the way.
Ruth. Baby Ruth.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
RBJ.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Lionel Astoria. Lionel says this. Time to buy a Christmas tree. I love New York this time of year. Hashtag magical time of the year. All right, that's awesome.
That's very true, of course. For me, again, it's magical for me.
It's great.
Some people, however, are not. It's not a great time. It's a magical time for them this year because, maybe they've lost a family member or a loved one, or they've lost their job. There's a ton of stories.
Maybe it's a time to remember the good times.
Yeah, that's true. And, it's the end of the year is near. So this is a great time of the year to really reflect. So if this year was bad, just, focus on the new year coming, 2019. That's right. All right, with that, what do you have, Mr. Greg?
Okay, MTA wants to go up with fares because ridership is down. Are you kidding? Have you read the J and the Z recently? From Baser in Williamsburg.
All right, Baser. That's true. That's a good point. I do understand ridership is down with the MTA, and I think it's because of all the Ubers, the city bikes, the Lyfts. So and of course the price, the rate. It's ridiculous, and it's going up again in another month. I don't understand, but hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Actually, speaking of MTA, I just read. Last year they said that they would not penalize anyone who actually jumped the turnstile. Now I read another headline that they're going after these people. You know why? Of course, they're losing money.
I've done it before.
You've done it before?
I have.
You're just chirping about it?
I'm chirping about it. I've done it before in like crazy situations where, like, maybe it's a job interview. I got to get there.
Right.
I've done the wrong thing. Should I have just said this now? I don't know. But
Nah, you'll be fine. Just
I'll
don't
be
do
fine.
it tomorrow, or don't do it later
I'll
on.
never
'Cause
jump
they're
in the
coming after
turnstile
you
again.
guys.
You know what I saw the other day, Pat?
Yeah.
You know what I saw? I saw this young lady eating chocolate, throwing wrappers on the floor.
Yeah.
Just
watching.
That's
Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah.
However you say that. All those brass-looking wrappers, tossing them on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, with some chocolate back inside.
Hmm.
You tell me that. Tell me that. You know, that's not good.
That's not good.
So I
No,
guess
it
we all,
isn't.
you know, the New Year's coming. We'll all work on each other.
That's right. I love it. All right.
Become better people.
There we go. You know, I'm going to actually read a chirp myself here. This one is from Mark, who's from Flushing. And Mark, chirp, when you're trying to sleep, but someone's digging for cans outside of your window at 1 a.m.,
Yeah.
go home and get some rest. Hashtag so aggravating. Oh, all right. I can get that. I mean, this is all right. I guess it is what it is. What do you say?
There's no lawyers in here, right? You're not. Are you a
No,
lawyer?
I'm definitely not a lawyer.
No. I'm going to say you can't go into other people's garbage, right?
Can you or can't you?
I'm not sure.
I think you can.
You can go into
I
other
think you
people's
can,
garbage.
Yeah. I think it depends on how it's stored. I don't think you can open up something, but if it's right there, I think it's
You
free
can.
for the taking. Yeah.
Well, then you know you can get cents back for each can. You know,
Yeah.
you have a full garbage can
Right.
or recycling bin of stuff. Fine, let that person help themselves.
Right. Well, you
No.
see, you know, these older ladies or men, you know, with these on the
Stick.
shoulder with a stick.
I have a good story. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to hear about it. You want to tell us that?
Yeah,
Tell us.
sure.
Yeah, chirp about it.
So I just noticed in the last 5 years these much older Chinese women. Sometimes, I mean, I'm old, much older than me, and they're out there by themselves, really digging, and it's hard work. So I started giving them money, which it's a little weird, but I just been doing it because I felt so touched by them.
Okay.
And quite often they're embarrassed by it, but they take it.
They
So
take
one
it.
day I was a woman walking toward me, probably in her late 70s, very thin, wise-looking face.
Yeah.
And I just gave her a 10, and she said, "What, do you want to buy a can?" in perfect English, okay. I said, "No, I just think, you know, I'm older, you're working hard, it's the sun's bright, and why not?" And she said, "I'll tell you what, you just don't want to feel guilty. That's why. So if you ask me really nice, I'll take it." So I said, "Would you please take my $10 bill so I
And
won't
she
feel
did.
guilty?" And she said, "You got it." And she walked away. I thought, yes.
Can you believe that?
It was good.
You got to
It
beg
was good.
somebody
No, I
to
really
take
liked
the
her.
$10
I liked her.
bill.
I liked her.
She knows
She had
exactly what the
spirit.
score is, though.
She had spirit. Yeah.
You know, like she's
Absolutely.
like, I'm doing this.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
you're gonna offer me some money.
Yep.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But oh wow,
That's crazy.
that's legit.
That's good. All right. It is what it is. All right. We're going to do one more round of chirps,
Yeah,
and then we'll
I
take a
got-
break by Mr. Ian Bamberger.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I've got Pam from Long Island City. Pam says this: many people complain about backpacks on crowded subways, but have no problem with huge baby carriages taking up half the car and the seats. Shake my head. So
Interesting.
let me say this again: many people complain about backpack wearing and crowded subways. Backpack wearers. I think that's what you mean, Pam. But have no problem with huge baby carriages.
Taking up the seats.
So this is tough, right?
That is tough. I mean,
think backpacks. You know, you wear a big backpack. Don't
Take
do
it
that.
off.
Yeah, but a baby carriage. No, this is the New York City transit system.
There's no argument there.
No,
No,
let
I'm
the
gonna leave that
babies.
one
Let
alone.
the babies go.
Yeah, let the baby. let the babies
Pam, I
go.
don't agree with you. I
Yeah.
don't agree with you.
Let the babies go,
yeah,
Pam.
if-
Don't mess with the kids.
don't mess with the
Nah, just take them off. Take the backpacks off. That's what I say.
The
What do you say,
crowds up
Greg?
the subway,
Yeah. No backpacks for sure.
No backpacks.
but the carriages. You know, like let the carriages be on.
Yeah, but I think mothers had to be aware. One of my pet peeves is a mother comes out of a store, the kid's in front of her, and she's talking to her friend, and the kid just
And
comes
it's-
right onto the
yeah.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Self-awareness is
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
That's-
So I think the moms have to be aware. Where is the front of your carriage at this moment?
Yeah. yeah.
totally good. Where's the Freddy? Totally. You have runners or bikers. You totally knock into that, and you have lawsuits.
yeah. All right.
Wazoo.
All right, Greg, what do you have to chirp about?
So let's see. Everything old is not new again. As a senior, I remember when bikes were for sidewalks, when cars were few and scooters were for sidewalks. Now bikes and scooters are on the road. Huh? I'm afraid to drive in New York City.
Ooh.
Carol from the Upper East Side.
All right, Carol, I feel your chirp. I feel your pain. I feel your misery. She's a senior, poor senior. I mean, she can't. She's afraid to get on the road.
Yeah.
Maybe she should not be on the road. What do you say about that? I mean, sometimes, depending on the age or the illness, your eyesight begins to diminish, and your hearing begins to diminish. So maybe sometimes it's not a good thing to be on the road, especially in this crazy great city. With these cab drivers and these Uber guys.
But
what do you
this
say?
person also brought up their bikers and scooter drivers who go on the roads.
Yeah.
Right? Who used to be on the sidewalk. So I have to say, I used to be a coach, a rowing coach, an athletic sport. I used to travel with boats in a trailer. Almost $1 million worth of equipment. I had to drive through Manhattan with that stuff.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And I just got to say, I'm not going to say, because I bike right now for work as well. It's not being entitled, but it's a dangerous city to be driving through.
Yeah.
If you're a driver, or a truck driver, or anything.
Just if you're a bike, even more so.
Oh my God, on a bike. Every day's a risk.
People, I drive as if everybody's trying to kill me. That's my mantra.
That's your mantra.
It takes one person who's texting who doesn't even pay attention.
I say that to myself all the time as well. Yeah,
that's all it takes. Just one person who doesn't not paying attention,
and everything else is gone.
Yeah,
supposedly. All right. We have
Very
to have
morbid.
another chirp, or
I have one more chirp.
All right,
here.
let's do one more chirp.
This is Ruben from Brooklyn. What's up, Ruben? I live in Bed-Stuy, so what's up? Okay, contacted 311 several times. You guys can tell me. Thanks for that info. I find it mind-boggling that after the initial parking announcements, the caller is prompted to press 1 to continue in English. Last I looked, English is our official language. Can't comprehend. # America. # native tongue. # speak it. Ruben, fuck you. No. Not New York City. Not New York City. Sorry.
Well,
no. Speak it. Speak English. I barely speak English. But
I think what Ruben is speaking about or chirping about is, when you call your banks or even that, what is it, 911? No, 311, which is the information line for the city.
Deal with it.
You have to press 2 for Spanish and 3 for another language or whatever.
Yeah, but one is English, so why is he complaining?
Well, no, why is he complaining?
He's complaining about the option.
Ruben, you better call in, man.
Having the option to press 1. I think that's what he's chirping about, is the fact that the option is actually even on the table.
Shouldn't you be happy the option is there?
Yeah. Well, Ruben, call in, man.
Exact
call in
opposite?
and defend yourself, Ruben. 646-690-2976. Call in. Let's hear from you,
from
Ruben.
Brooklyn.
Ian is not happy with you, Ruben. All right, Greg, do you want to do one last chirp?
I'm done.
Yeah, you're done? All right, Ian, do you have one more?
No, that's it.
All right, folks, that was our round
fascinating.
of chirps. Hope you enjoyed. Please continue to chirp about your New York moments, thoughts, your opinions through my website, chirpaboutit.com. We'd love to hear from you. Become a star for a few seconds on the show. Why not? All right, with that, we're going to take a nice, interesting break by Mr. Ian Bamberger. And come back and speak with our interesting guest, Greg Lefebvre. Yeah.
Yeah, before I play my song, Sheriff's Wife, just got to tell Ruben again, this is one of the most diverse cities on planet Earth. So please call in. Please call in and tell me why you're complaining about the fact that, other people who come into this country...
people do complain. People. I hear people shout, speak English, this is America.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
You hear that all the time on the trains, subways, bus, on the street.
Get the hell out of here.
Oh, yeah, you hear that a lot, But not in our New York City. Not with Ian around. Not with me around.
No. It's a beautiful thing. You can call up a bank or anyone and be able to, we're just talking about one other language. That's
right.
it. That's all we're talking about, just one other language.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. This is Sheriff's Wife. My name's Ian Bamberger. I got a show coming up December 14th. Check out my Instagram, Ian Bamberger. This is Sheriff's Wife.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hiking down that trail. Oh, I couldn't make bail. My mind is 2 places at once. Well, I busted out of town. I pulled the trigger, shot me down. No, why did I fall in love?
Ian Bamberger.
I had to fall in love. Let's get it now. When the hours get late, so I jumped the front gate to get one last look at my lady. I saw her through the window and I decided it was time to go. Why did I fall in love? I had to fall in love. Well, it's been a week on the road, cruising on a bike I stole. I see something I like, it's mine. A man was big and mean. I tried to get away clean, but I had to fall in love. Why did I fall in love? Well, he wants to take my life, no. Oh, she wants to be my wife, yeah. I fell in love with the sheriff's wife.
Sheriff's wife.
With the sheriff's wife.
Sheriff's wife.
With the sheriff's wife.
With the sheriff's wife.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I made it to the border today. I tried to get away. I saw the sheriff pointing his gun at me. Try to turn around. I pulled the trigger, shot me down. No, why did I fall in love? I had to fall in love. I fell in love.
Woo woo! Ian Bamberger, folks. Ian Bamberger. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. This is Ed Lemo. Who is Ed Lemo and why should I listen? Ed Lemo is an attorney that is unique in that he gives consumers good, solid information about the law that will help protect them against irresponsible drivers, landowners, and doctors and hospitals who are negligent and cause you harm. Ed Lemo has been representing individuals against insurance companies since 1984. Ed Lemo limits his practice to accident, injury, and medical malpractice claims. You can find out more about me at my website at www.lemolaw.com. That's www.lemolaw.com, or you can reach me at 646-522-9082. So if you're injured in an accident or a victim of malpractice and you need a trial attorney who has experience in the courtroom and gets results, call Ed Lemo at 646-522-9082, or you can reach me at edwardlemo@yahoo.com. Or you can go to my website for further information, www.lemolaw.com. You'll be glad you did. Thank you.
All right, you heard it live and direct from Mr. Edward Lemo, great personal injury attorney. Please check him out through his website and contact him, okay? lemolaw.com, lemolaw.com. The show is also brought to you by Chirp Chickens, so please go onto their website, download their app for a huge discount on any meal, chirpandchickens.com, all right? Chirp, chirp, chirp. We also have Accordia Shipping, who's one of our sponsors as well. So for all of your shipping needs, all right, from a pencil to a car to containers to what have you, especially the holidays right upon us. So, handle all of your, do all of your shipping through accordiashipping.com. All right, just mention the show, Chirp About It Live. We also have Papa John's for your tonight's dinner. All right, go on to papajohns.com, download their app for a huge discount on any meal as well, on any pie, I should say, papajohns.com. We're also, we have a few sponsors lined up for the new year. So we're actually running out of space. So if you'd like to sponsor our show, Chirp About It Live, in year 2019, please send me an email at patrickk@saintly.com. PATRICKK at Saintly, SAINTLY.com. All right. That's to sponsor the show. Also, if you'd like to, if you miss an episode or two or three or what have you, just follow us on through iHeartRadio.com under podcast shows. All right. So that way, you'll never ever miss an Ian Bamberger song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a great song, man. I tell you, Ian, we are lucky to have you, boy. Man, I love it. You sit right next to me, man. It's great. It's great to have Ian on the show. All right, with that, we're going to pass over our mic to Mr. Greg Lefebvre.
Very good.
Yeah, Greg Lefebvre. Did I pronounce it correct?
Perfect.
All right. Well, welcome, Greg. How are you?
Good. I'm real good.
Okay, good. I hope you're having a good time so far.
I am.
Do you like chirping?
It's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah?
Totally.
Well, welcome to the show. I know you have a lot to chirp about. You are certainly a New Yorker, and you're doing a lot. You have a lot going on in this city. So we'd like to hear all about it. Now, you are, I don't know where to begin, but let's start with your public art.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Go ahead.
You're a sculptor.
Sculptor. Well, sculptor, installation artist.
Installation artist. All
Yes.
right, there we go. So tell us, what is that exactly?
Well, sculptor, we all know what a sculptor
Right.
is. But installation artist, I think, is a little more contemporary concept where you're not just you're not just carving an object or molding an object. You're doing a whole installation with a number of components in a public place. And most installation artists do temporary installations. I'm lucky in that a lot of my installations are hopefully there forever, or at least long after I'm gone. So,
Okay, so where do you have installations throughout the city? I know you do.
I have
but,
a dozen in New York. My biggest one is on it runs for 2 blocks from Park Avenue to 5th Avenue on 41st Street. There's almost 100 bronze panels set in the sidewalk, and each one has a quote and an illustration that somehow references world literature.
What quotes and how did you get those?
Long, complicated story. They had somebody from the New Yorker. It was a committee, a big committee, and they say that the camel was designed by a committee trying to design a horse. So,
okay.
So we had a lot of arguments about what was in. But in the end, I think it's a nice collection of quotes. And I turned them all so as you walk down 41st Street to read them, they all you're facing the library, so they take you toward the library.
Oh, that's the New York Public Library.
Yeah,
Fifth
exactly.
Avenue.
Was that your idea?
Yeah.
Or was that
Yes, it was my idea.
Beautiful.
So, and some of the quotes are funny, some of them are sad, some of them are serious. It's all kinds. And they led to, I didn't make a whole lot of money on the project, but it led to many other library projects all over the world. So, it was definitely worth doing.
Worth doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Check that out.
So.
How long ago has this been?
Interesting story. So it was the man who conceived of the whole idea was Dan Biederman. He's the head of the Grand Central Partnership, and his idea was to make that 2-block stretch of 41st Street into a literary neighborhood. And the problem was, when he had this idea, it was just when Barnes & Noble was sort of taking over the world and knocking out little bookstores, and also when books themselves were in trouble.
Right.
But one of the ideas that tied it all together was there would be this walkway with these bronze pieces, and that's continued. So, and what's interesting about our former mayor, Mayor Giuliani, was when the pieces were designed, the Arts Commission gave myself and the team that I was part of a Design and Excellence Award for the project. It hadn't been made yet, and Giuliani had to give it to us and hand us the award in City Hall.
That's nice.
And when I happened to be next to him for the photo, and he put his arm around me, and he kept tapping me on the shoulder, and I kept saying, "What?" He said, "Nothing." And I said, "Why are you tapping me?" He said, "I'm not tapping you." So,
What do you think? He's nervous?
So I don't know what it was, but things haven't changed much, I don't think, over the years. So then the fellow who conceived of the whole thing, he was head of 3 different business improvement districts. So he got a triple salary, and it was twice as much as the mayor's salary. So the mayor was not particularly fond of him. So after I finished the project,
Mayor of what district or area?
the city,
Mayor Giuliani, who's now the current attorney of Mr. Trump.
right? So what he did to get even with the guy was after the project had been approved and gotten the award in City Hall, then I made the project. It took me 2 years to manufacture the whole thing and create it. And then they were supposed to be put into the sidewalks, and then the Department of Transportation wouldn't give us permission to put them in the sidewalks. So they sat in a storage unit for quite a while, and I was just brokenhearted because this was my big break, and it wasn't going to happen. But finally, things changed.
How did it happen? I mean,
I'm not exactly sure. Nobody would give me a straight answer on any
but
side.
it did happen.
Yeah, it did happen. Yeah, so
That's politics 101.
yes, there you go.
Right.
So yeah, so. But it was a lot of fun. I still get one more story. So years later, I had a photo show. I'm also a photographer, and I had a photo show, and I sent out a press release, and I got a call from a New York Times columnist saying that he wanted to interview me, and I just assumed it was about the show, the photo show. Mm-hmm. So we set a time, and he called me up, and he said, "So, let me start out by saying, why should the city pay for bronze panels on the sidewalk that nobody reads?" And I was like, "Whoa!" And I just had no idea. My mouth was all shaped to give him the photo wrap, and I just was completely blown away. And I just fumbled and mumbled, and I just blew the interview. Ooh. And afterwards, I was miserable. So I wrote him. I realized, I have met people all over the world. I met people on the streets of Paris who know the project. I met people scuba diving in the Bahamas, just all kinds of places. And while you don't have a crowd, every day hundreds of people stop and look. And very few people I meet in the city who are out and about don't know the project.
But think of people with phones who are tourists. Yeah. It just takes a simple click on your smartphone.
Yeah.
And you immediately comprehend, or you just take a picture and bring that piece of art to the world, literally.
Exactly.
I think it's a good idea that you came up with quotes.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Can you share one of the quotes? I don't have one with me now. Can you?
Actually, I can share one that's the saddest one. It's by a Chinese poet named Gu Cheng, and it's a graveside poem to his late girlfriend.
Okay.
And it goes like this: on my heart's page, there are no lines. There's no grid to guide my hand, no characters to trace. Boy, I'm losing it. No characters to trace. Go on. I can only use the ink blue dew drips from the leaves above. To spread it, I cannot use a brush. I cannot use a pen. I can only use my life's gentlest breath to make a line of marks worth puzzling over.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So sadly enough, Gu Cheng, his parents were intellectuals, and then during the Cultural Revolution, they were sent to a pig farm to work.
Yeah.
And so, but for a kid, it was actually good for him, but not for his parents.
Not for his parents.
So he grew up in this pretty depressed family, and when he was in his 50s, he lived in Australia. He wasn't welcomed in China because he was popular in the West. And he committed suicide. So
this was under Mao, right? When
under Mao, right. So a sad story, yeah. So,
do you have any of your quotes laying on the ground of
no,
New
none
York
of mine.
City?
None of mine.
No.
So,
where else in the city can we find some of your?
So I have.
I'm fascinated by this, by the way.
So if you go to Macy's, there's Herald Square and Greeley Square. Herald Square is right by Macy's, and it's where the Herald newspaper used to be. And on the mast of the Herald masthead, there was a owl. And then a block south, in Greeley Square, it's where the Tribune had their headquarters. And on the Tribune's masthead were eagles. Mm-hmm. So the city commissioned me to do owls on top of the gateposts for Herald Square and eagles on top of the gateposts for Greeley Square.
Oh, are they still there?
They're still there, yeah. And so what's interesting is, and the Arts Commission approved my concept. And then when I was actually making them, eagles have a sort of a grand, they have a beautiful stance. Mm-hmm. And they have motion with, just in their stance, standing still, they have a certain motion. An owl is very completely covered by its feathers, and you don't get much feeling for its body, so it's basically a round lump. And so my two owls were not very interesting to look at. So I decided, I could make them interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, we have a caller.
Okay.
Hello, Chirp About It. Good evening.
Hello there, Pat. It's Gene Seidman calling from Art Miami.
Hello, Gene Seidman.
Art Basel.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great.
Okay.
I'm great.
Good.
How are you?
I'm very well. Nice of you to call in.
Well, you asked me to, and I looked up, and so far today, I've been to Art Miami and Design and Scope and Untitled, all in Miami, and it's all, there's more art than, it's the biggest art show in North America. So I always find things to be inspired from, and the scene is, beyond.
Oh, okay. Well, that's go ahead.
Who do you have on the show tonight?
Well, we have a great artist by the name of Greg Lefebvre. Greg Lefebvre. He's also a true New Yorker, a real New Yorker. He's just discussing. Are you listening to the show while you're there in Miami?
I just tuned in because I've been looking at art.
Oh.
But it sounds. Hi, Greg. Nice to meet you.
Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you too. How's the scene down there? Is it very crowded?
It's very crowded.
Always, yeah.
But you know what? People are in a really good mood, and it's 84 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I know it's nice in New York, but it's super nice down here.
Really.
So.
Yeah.
I feel like these two gentlemen should meet each other.
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I had asked Gene to call in because I think eventually you two hopefully will
Sounds good.
We'll be on the show together.
Great.
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting you, Greg.
Same here.
Next time.
Yeah. Have a drink at the Delano on me.
Just mention his name.
I will have a drink. I'll have a drink at the Delano for sure. It's the epicenter of Miami Beach, and there's always something going on all night long.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So.
I will toast you, and I look forward. Your medium is sculpture, is it?
Yeah, I do two things. I do bronze relief work set in the sidewalk. It's either about the history or character of particular places. And then I guess you'd call me an experimental photographer. I do three-dimensional photography by wrapping objects and surfaces in a photograph. And
wow.
Yeah, so those are.
I can't wait to see it.
Those are pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't seen anything like them in any art fairs. So hopefully you won't see anything like them down there. So.
No, I mean I hope to see yours.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's great. Well, here's the originality. I mean, I see a lot of redundant things, and as an art dealer and collector and lover of art, repetitive imagery and things that I've seen before aren't that interesting. But boy, when you see something that is new and fresh and conceptually brilliant, it just sings. It just, makes the heart jump out of your skin.
It makes the heart sing.
Sing at the top of your lungs. I've seen a few of those things. I've seen a few of those things here today, and just very inventive. And I'm seeing some technology being used, video in an interesting way, and it just makes puts a big smile on my face.
I love it.
I invite everyone to come down to Art Basel, Miami Beach, and we'll have a drink at the Delano. How's that?
on Greg Lefebvre. All right, with that, thank you for reporting live from Miami. Gene Seidman, folks. Gene Seidman, art dealer. All right,
we'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon.
Bye, Greg.
Thank you.
Bye. Enjoy.
All right. Bye. Gene Seidman, art dealer, for reporting in from Miami. So we have to go out. You got to get me a drink at the Delano.
They have the bar used to be in 6 inches of water, so the whole bar, the tables were in the water and the bar was in the water. So you walked around, you had to leave your shoes to get in the bar.
To get into the bar, yeah.
I think they may have changed it, but
yeah.
So.
Well, we got to get some of your artwork in there as well. Do you consider your work art, or what do you? Because it doesn't seem like, for me, when I say art, I'm thinking about paintings, that sort of stuff.
There's all kinds of art.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, my work definitely, my bronze work crosses between craft and art, but I think it makes a statement. It certainly has mening.
Absolutely,
I'm happy to. people can call it whatever they want.
Yeah. You're talking about. You just mentioned photography.
Yeah.
I checked out some of your stuff. Really interesting.
Thank you.
You have a thing with ads.
Yes.
Posters.
Yeah.
public ads and posters, and as they fade or they wrinkle through the weather, or people, I guess, graffiti on them, whatever, you have an eye for that sort of stuff.
Oh, thanks.
Which I find very, very interesting. How did that come about?
So when I was, I've done a couple hundred of these bronze installations, actually all around the world now. I have a project now in Azerbaijan and different places. But in all the places where I set works, I'm there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks on my hands and knees working in a downtown area. And I witnessed the beginning of these large stretched vinyl billboards. Often they're figurative. There's a face of a model. And in a small town, in a big town, it totally changes the character of the town. When you have this giant face over you. So I started cataloging. I took pictures of them. I started cataloging those pictures over a 25-year period. But I also began to catalog, and I became very interested in pieces that are transformed in some way. The city cuts holes in them for wires, or there's windows that they cut through, or graffiti artists, or political artists, or faded. There's a million things that can happen to them. But what happens is, the meaning of the ad is mediated by the changes that happen. And that's interesting to me. So one of the things I discovered was when you have a stretched billboard, particularly if it's a model's face, underneath the billboard there's always lumps and bumps. And so they come through the sign, but you don't see them except at noontime. At noon, when there's raking light coming straight down, the lumps and bumps look exactly like pimples because they cast shadow. So the fascinating thing is, when I do this little... I do a little user survey. I stop mostly women, but I stop men too on the street. And so, what do you see here? And they go, it's Kate Moss. I said, what else? Oh, it's the Benetton campaign. What else? That's all. I say, what about the pimples? And they go, wow. Oh, I didn't notice those.
Yeah.
And so what that means is they're seeing the ideal image. That's not real.
That's not real.
They're not seeing reality. And that's pretty indicative of what advertising is all about.
Yeah, genius. So. I noticed that on your... I noticed one of those... posters on your website.
So I have all the great models. I have all the great models with zits. So.
You also have a green collection. Tell us about the green collection. Is that where, I guess, owners or property owners? So in 2014, the city passed an ordinance that if you put up a construction fence, if you box in your store to do a rebuild, you have to paint it hunter green, which is hunter green. They just chose it.
How do we understand hunter green? What would that be?
It's like a forest green.
It's a little darker than a forest green. Yeah. So anyway, and then if somebody puts posters or graffiti on it, it's the obligation of the property owner to tear them off or paint over them with green paint. So when this ordinance went into effect, immediately a company popped up that would do this for you. And they had the market cornered.
Smart.
They did a good job. They had good quality paint. They had careful painters. But then immediately, New York being what it is, competition popped up.
Yeah.
And the competition undercut them on prices. So then it became a price war. So now you have companies that use thin paint. They do a really fast job. And what happens is they leave behind beautiful passages where you can see through the sign. And so I take pictures of those passages.
Yeah.
And I have one that it's beautiful. It looks like the Mona Lisa. And I
think
I
I've
love
seen
it.
that one.
And so, one day a friend came in and said, you know who that is, don't you? I said, no. They said, Kim Kardashian. I was brokenhearted.
That's a beautiful way that came about. Because these people are trying to get the quickest, fastest money they possibly can.
Exactly.
You found something beautiful out of that.
Thank you.
They just come over and just kind of splash a little green
they
on
do
it.
as
That's
fast
it.
as they can.
And then it becomes art to your eyes.
Exactly.
That
Interesting.
is the epitome of art. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It actually became art to my eyes as well. After
Thank you.
I never really thought about looking at. I saw there was one called Pink Lipstick or Pink Lip.
Pink lips.
Yeah, and it was like rain. It was like melted paper on the ground.
Lips. It had so degenerated from the sun and weather that it was peeling.
Oh, is that what it was? Peeling. I thought it was from the rain or something. And then
it's weathering everything.
Yeah. Very, very.
The other thing that's interesting is that dark colors, particularly black, degenerate the most because they soak up the most heat. So, and light colors don't, and white doesn't. White is reflective. So, so anyway, it's been pretty interesting. Pretty interesting taking pictures. It's made me a little obsessed about ads.
Yeah.
And then you start to notice advertising technique and strategy. For example, there's a whole bunch of ads now where it just shows you, I'll give you one as an example. It's a woman in bra and panties. She's standing with a moon behind her, and it's a pretty sexy shot. and no ad, no text. However, if you look closely at her panties, it says diesel, and they have garter straps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're hip and cool, you know that that's diesel.
diesel.
Therefore, it reinforces your kind of the hip, cool quality of the ad.
Right.
And if you don't know, you're a square.
Right. Exactly.
Diesel.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
You're a genius artist. I have to say that because again, after
Well, thanks
seeing
for your
some
kind
of your
words.
work, a
Yeah,
lot of your
yeah,
work, it just I can see it. I can see what you see.
Mhm.
For the most part. Any new projects coming up soon? Anything you excited you're working on?
Yeah, I just proposed something. Hopefully, if you look at the Metropolitan Museum, the front of the museum, there are 4 double columns and the facade. And at the top of those, there's a big pile of raw, unfinished stone. And so I'm proposing through one of the trustees that, and what those stones were was when they built the building, they were going to hire a sculptor to carve those 4 stone masses into, the architect of the building wanted it to be the 4 great periods, according to the architect, of art history, which was Egyptian, Greco-Roman, Renaissance, and contemporary or modern. So what I'm proposing is that I clad them with, I take images from the permanent collection of the museum, and I clad those stone piles with those images to sort of not replicate, but to sort of simulate what the original architect wanted.
Yeah.
It'd be a temporary project, but I think it'd make people take a look at the facade a little differently. And also, I'm going to have them installed. We're going to lift them with drones, and then have rappellers from all over the world rappel down and actually place them. So I think it would be a nice event. Yeah, so
that's a whole thing. It's like a
hopefully,
theatrical thing.
That's the idea.
The whole thing. Hopefully,
There's a great French climber. You gonna the Spider-Man? You gonna get him?
Yeah, I've got. Who knows? But
that's an awesome idea.
Now you also have some stuff at Four Seasons. Am I right? Four Seasons.
I had a couple of shows there. Yeah,
a couple of shows
before, and it's no longer the Four Seasons. Yeah.
Oh, what is it now?
It's still it's called. I forget what it's called. It's the what's his name? The guy who owned the building basically raised the rent on the Four Seasons, so they had to move.
Is that the building where they had that famous Picasso painting?
Yes, it's the Seagram's building.
Yeah,
so
on Park Avenue.
It was originally built by the Seagram's family. Yeah, so.
Whatever happened to that painting? I wonder. Did they take it down eventually?
It got moved. I don't know where. So.
Yeah. I love it. So where else can we find some of your stuff? I know you've been summoned to New York, Miami, all major cities.
Foley Square, where all the courthouses are. I was commissioned to do 5 large bronze medallions set in these 5 giant granite star-shaped starbursts, sort of, in the sidewalks. And each one commemorates a different period or a different epoch of the history of Foley Square. And the interesting thing about them is that when I went to install them, I did all my paperwork ahead of time. I got permissions because I was going to be using a Ryder truck, and Kansas City bombing had just happened. So I went through I didn't leave one stone unturned to get permissions. And the morning of the installation, I pull up on the sidewalk of my Ryder truck, and immediately armed guys surround my truck. Then we just put our hands. We get out of the truck, put your hands on the truck, and then we had our hands up for the longest time. And then they had bomb sniffing dogs and the whole. And I said, I got them. They wouldn't even look at my paperwork.
Yeah.
So when I had to install the second one, which was by the International Court, Bin Laden had just declared a fatwa and a new attack on America. So the security levels were much raised. And so I said, you know what, I'm not even going to bother doing any paperwork because they're just going to give me a hard time. I'll just pull up and take my punches. I pull up, nobody says boo. I leave my Ryder truck parked on the side, on the plaza the entire day. When it's a high alert, nothing happens. Which just goes to show you, that security is a complicated business.
Sounds like it.
And
nowadays.
And they come up short a lot, yes.
They come up short a lot.
So.
It's a big job.
Yeah.
It's difficult to kind of keep your eyes on everything, and it's tough. Mm-hmm. All right, Jade, how many more? One more minute. All right. Well, see, time flies when you're having fun, and certainly when you have very interesting, great guests. So I'd like to thank you, Greg Lefebvre. I have to get that right, Lefebvre, for coming on to the show.
Thanks very much.
You've been a great guest. I've learned a lot from you before the show and certainly on this show, and I'm sure my audience has learned a lot from you as well. So, folks, that was our episode of Chirp About It Live. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. on City World Radio Network. Ian Bamberger, I'd like to thank you as well. Why don't you close us out with a little bit of smooth tunes?
Some smooth tunes.
Greg Lefebvre. Please come back soon, of course. All right, folks. We'll chirp to you later.
What's going on? Y'all listening to Sky's Crescent Radio, and here's what's coming up. On the first Sunday of the month, we have the Poet Podcast with Dale Novella. On the second Sunday of the month,